Hi guys, I'm Scar, and here's what I've learned from Succession so far. So let's get into the new skills of Succession. One of the best things that I really like of Succession is the new skill Slanted Balance, and the fact that it has a range CC. So you can CC from approximately this range, and go in and do your attack. Another one of the updates to the game is that we no longer have to turn our airstrike. Our airstrike now is only bound when it is not a floating target, and you can just airstrike right into the face and continue on with your combo. They have also updated Comma Slash, and now it can be held, turned around, and constantly maintain your forward guard, as well as iframe during and let go after the iframe to release in the back of your target, getting the CC. They have also updated Obsidian Ashes to now restore its bound. This is a nice skill to use in a Node War or an RBF when you're not seen coming. However, if you use it and this enemy is looking at you, you're going to be CC'd and they're going to kill you. Pervasive has been changed, removing its frontal guard, however adding a stiffen. It now does more damage and has been given a flow similar to Enforcement Termination. However, the second hit does not float, it simply does decent damage. Enforcement Termination is technically the same, however, it's got a large damage increase and still remains one of the best skills to use against evasion targets with its high accuracy modifier, and as well useful in PvE. Now let's talk about cancels. Every skill in Succession can be cancelled with an iframe at the start, middle, or end of its animation. However, if you want the damage to go off or the CC to go off, you must cancel the animation at the end. There are also 3 cancels that consist of the use of Nocturne. You can hold your Comma Slash, tap right mouse bumper, come out behind the target, releasing your Comma Slash, and getting that knockdown in the back. It should be noted that Comma Slash must be fully charged in order to be Nocturne cancelled and still use the damage in the back. You can cancel Twilight Dash in a similar way by tapping C and tapping right mouse bumper at any point in the animation, whether it be at the beginning or at the end, depending on how far you want to move from your target and how much damage you want to do through the target. It's however slightly more useful to cancel your Twilight Dash with Pervasive Darkness, Unveiled Dagger, or Ultimate Enforcement, as it doesn't lock you in place and is a little bit faster. The final cancel with Nocturne is the Lunacy cancel. You tap your Lunacy, tap right mouse bumper to go into Nocturne, and use S or W to either move behind the target or back up in a protected state. The second option can be useful if you just did damage to a large group and you need to get it out fast with a forward guard protection and then dash away. Now let's talk about Ravage Rake. Ravage Rake is incredibly useful, surprisingly enough, and the fact that the absolute flow Ravage Rake takes on the damage of Prime Ravage Rake at level 3. Should also be noted that after the first strike, you can press S to flow into the flow Ravage Rake, doing bigger damage. This can be performed at the first, second, or third strike. The heal of 30 HP per good hit is actually quite useful for PvE as well. Similarly, the heal on Lunacy of 50 HP for good hit is decent in PvE. However, the BSR having 12 hits and 50 HP on every hit, it is not too bad to be used against 2 to 3 targets, as this will allow you to deal damage to the targets as well as heal through some of the damage that they are giving to you. Now let's talk about PvE combos. You can start off with an Unveiled Dagger into a Legacy, DP downing speed buffing yourself, using Twilight Dash, cancel with Pervasive, going into Enforcement Termination, finishing with Wheel, Lunacy of as well as Ravage Rake and Shadow Strike. Here's another example of a PvE combo, starting off with block, tapping LMB to do split second, Wheel of Fortune, Spirit Legacy, Twilight Dash cancel with Pervasive, Enforcement Termination, finishing with Lunacy of and Shadow Strike and Ravage Rake to finish off the targets remaining. These combos come directly from the DK Discord Shrine of Adir, and there'll be a link in the description to the Discord as well. In the description too, there'll also be written information on what these combos are, so it's a little bit easier to take in. Now that we lost Cluster of Despair for our pulls in PvE, you now must resort to Slanted Balance for a pull, as well as Obsidian Ashes and Shadow Strike. Now let's get into some PvP. Your main catches are going to be Slanted Balance, Wheel of Fortune, Comma Slash, as well as Lunacy of a Deer. Lunacy of a Deer you want to use less often as it's a great damage skill. After this, I always like to follow up with my Unveiled Dagger and Pervasive Darkness to buff myself as well as debuff the target. And then I follow up with my second CC of Enforcement Termination, or if you're in a state that you want to stay protected, you're going to want to use Comma Slash and use his forward guard. After this, you're going to use your big damage skills such as Lunacy of a Deer and Spirit Legacy, as well as Twilight Dash, but you want to use Twilight Dash and cancel it to remain in the target zone and do damage in the back. Here's an example here of a combo getting your first CC, speed buff of Unveiled, and DP down on Pervasive. During your second CC float, you're going to use Twilight Dash for the air attack modifier, staying in range using your Nocturne cancel, and then hitting with your big damage skills of Lunacy of a Deer and Spirit Legacy. Twilight does massive damage and is even exaggerated with the air attack modifier, and when you use the Nocturne cancel, you can stay in range for that big damage of Lunacy of a Deer and Spirit Legacy. Another PvP combo is for evasion heavy targets such as Mystic Strikers, Ninjas, and Kunos, and utilizes Ravage Rake. You get your initial CC, use Unveiled for speed buff, use the one tap of Pervasive, swap into Ravage Rake cancel with Ravage Rake flow after the first one, getting your second CC with Enforcement Termination, and then finishing off with a Twilight Dash through the float, and Lunacy or Spirit Legacy to finish off the target. Hope that helps, guys. We're still learning the succession ourselves, and I'm sure there's a few things we've yet to discover. However, it's tons of fun, it's lots of damage, tons of utility, lots of CCs. So far, it's been great in Node Wars, RBFs, and 1v1s. However, I can see how it would fall off a little bit in Siege. But overall, we're loving it. And we hope this video helped you guys, and that you guys love the class as much as I do. Thanks for watching.